evolved, and we did an incredible job, years ago. But it's been like, and I said this before at another panel, like we've had like over the last 8 years have worked out this narrative of the conductor and Sarah Marshall, to where although we do have these fantastic standalones, the beauty and the charm behind it is that in the center of it, in the very back, it's in the center, but in the very back, there's something that anchors it, which is the idea that it's a shared universe, whether it's a different timeline, whether it happens in a different demographic or a different area, like Pumpkin Eater. A lot of people didn't know that Pumpkin Eater, there's a backstory to it that connects it to Ghost Town. And a lot of it is not on a surface level, but it's more of a discovery. And so that's the beauty behind it. And the Easter eggs play such an important part to what we do in terms of the lore, because not only is it fan service, it serves as a purpose, right? Because the way we look at it, there's so many different ways to tell a story and so many stories to tell. And a lot of it sparks that interest for a lot of folks that happen to frequent our mazes on a regular basis, not just once in a year, but maybe over 3 or 4 times, to where they can walk into a maze that's been open for 3 years later and discover something that just brings an extra layer and an extra texture to it. A good example would be like Grimoire, right? For those of you that know about the Grimoire book, a lot of that is connected, and you could find that. You found that in the depths. I don't know if you guys saw it last year, but there was one that we hid. I specifically hid the Grimoire in the depths, and so it poses the question in terms of what really happened. And we're not literal in a sense, but it allows more room for interpretation, just like in Origins when you go through the final room. I don't want to spoil it for you all, but if you haven't been in Origins, there's that little wink and that little nod to it, and that's just one of the many that we have. And so the lore with the train conductor is kind of cool, because for those of you that are comic fans, I'm a huge comic fan, right? Like if you guys know who Uatu the Watcher is, he's almost like this narrator, or this person, this all-seeing being that sort of overlooks the Marvel Universe. And in a lot of ways, that train conductor is just that. He's not necessarily the one pulling the strings, but he's the through-line thread that kind of allows us to see these different glimpses of nightmares. And so it goes deep, and that's the beauty, I think, of Scary Farm, is that we can look at these new announcements of these new mazes and wonder what Daniel or Gus has kind of sort of factored into the fact that maybe there is an anchor there, and where can you see it? So it's kind of fun. It allows us to dive into Easter eggs that open up a new chapter and new stories that we can tell there down the line. Kind of cool.
I think it is very cool. I think it's very interesting to see that we create these entire worlds. Karen, I have a question for you. When you were dealing with these, like let's say last year in Music Monsters and Mayhems, and we had to integrate the Green Witch, who is our standalone icon, what was a little bit of the thought process of bringing her to the show and the things like that? Tell us a little bit about like what you guys did to make her come to life on stage.
So I worked alongside Casey Gessler to bring Music Monsters and Mayhem to life last year, and it was truly just a treat to get to sit down with so many people that have such a rich history with the event. So we got into a room and we just said, tell us everything you know. This is what we know, but tell us what you know. Who's been here? What's the lore? What kind of story are we telling? And then we're gonna musicalize it and give her fantastic choreography. So it was just really fun to get to go back to that storytelling, to see how she existed in this world for so long, because right, people like the Green Witch and the folks of Ghost Town Streets, they're so iconic. So of course we really wanted to do her service, and we just took from photos and stories and just things that we had seen over the years, and we got the, I would say, sheer honor to get to bring her to the stage, which was really exciting.
And then Paul, it goes over to your team, and your team has to make these huge sets come to life that give our characters the life. How can you explain a little bit about how that went for your teams?
For which one?
Music Monsters and Mayhem last year, or bringing stage productions to life in general.
So in general, again, it goes back to we get the creative, and they understand what the story is that they want to tell, and they work with the creative designer on the stage, and they create what we call a design package. And it is every scene that you're going to see as a guest fully realized on paper. And my team then takes it and through various processes creates those scenes in real life. Stages are interesting because we get to show you one single picture and they come in, you see them, and they go away. You don't know what's on the backside. We only have to make it real on that face. When we take it from a show and we then develop it into a maze, now we take that singular face and we create an entire reality out of it. The process itself is long. Some of these shows and some of the mazes, we will start our productions in as early as February. This year for our Widow's Maze, we started there in middle of March. And we've been working on it diligently since. For our shows, right now we're developing, the new hanging. That's been in development for months, and it's a lot of hard work, and a lot of long nights. And I appreciate my family allowing me the opportunity to do that and not kill me every day. So.
It is really true. It is a Scary Farm is not as long, so is the build is as long as Scary Farm, if not longer. We're going to do the last send-off. Do you guys have any tips, tricks, comments, and things that you can tell the group about being the creator for Scary Farm before we wrap up this panel for this today? John, I know you got something.
Like, we're always hiring. That's the crazy thing is
KSN.com, /jobs.
Knots.com, right?
/jobs.
Right. I think I'm excited because there's plenty of incredible talent out there, and I just speaking from the side of the haunt community, right? There's only a handful of folks that had the opportunity to create in an environment like this, and so for those of you that are interested in themed entertainment, there's an incredible opportunity, not just here, but anywhere that you go in experiential companies or things of this sort. But the tip that I would have for this year at Scary Farm is make sure to come by more than once, because there's so many cool things that is so hard to miss, and some of the incredible food offerings that we're doing, the incredible shows that we have, and just the ability to interact with some of the talent. The beautiful thing that we have is we were talking about stories from a grand sense over here, right? But when you talk, the bottom line, the best talent in the world when it comes down to our monsters, and I can't go without saying that, because everything down from the dancers that Karen works with at Goring 20s down to the street monsters. The beautiful thing is that, the entertainment doesn't stop the minute you exit a maze or the minute you finish watching the show. The minute you step out into the streets, the event as a whole is a show. And that's the beauty of it, is that even though you don't get a chance to go and find time to make it through a maze, enjoy what we have out there, the smaller things, because there's a nice little intimate setting that Scary Farm has, and a lot of that is driven by our talent that we see on the streets and the folks working behind the concession stand. There's a lot to see and a lot to enjoy, so try to come out more than once if you can.
So I think for me, I've been doing this for a really long time. And my passion has only grown over the years. And I think for me, my closing statement would definitely be what I tell my crews in the middle of the night as we're getting close to the end and everybody's tired and we're all exhausted. And we just don't want to see the sun come up again. We do a lot. This is the coolest job in the world. What we get to do is create living, breathing nightmares. Who gets to say that you know, they do that for a living? And then we get to share those nightmares with you.
We truly have the best fans in the entire world. And every year, I'm just always amazed at what our teams bring to the event. And I am sure this year, 51 is going to be better than ever.
My present news to everybody is if you see us in the fog, which I'm sure you will, we will be running around, whether we are standing back watching a show or whether we are helping talent be talent, or whether you see us fixing something in a maze and you see us when we have a moment, don't be scared to come and say hello and chat with us. We would love to have a conversation with you guys and to tell you a little bit if you have questions or comments about what we do or how to even get involved, because I mean at some point none of us were sitting up on this chair and we were fans just like you. So, I mean, I was a fan, and that's just saying, so please come and talk to us. None of us fight. We are all very friendly people. Look at all these smiles up here. So yeah, with that, I would like to say thank you guys for coming to our creators panel. And we are having another panel at 9:20.